Hi, welcome back. I'm Samantha Lee Wright, and today we are diving into lesson number 2 in our free oil course. Now, lesson 2 is all about the how. How can you use essential oils? Now, there's about a billion different ways that you can use all of the different essential oils out there. This video is going to go over all the basic techniques to teach you how to use just about every oil out there. The next video, we're going to get into more detail about which oils you can use, and I'll give you some ideas by walking you through kind of a step-by-step day in my life of how I use my favorite essential oils. All right, so let's get started. Now, there are, in general, 3 ways that you can use essential oils. The first is aromatically, breathing in the molecules through your nose and your lungs. The second is topically, putting essential oils on your skin. And then the third is internally, drinking, putting it in a pill, or putting it in your food. So let's break down all those different methods of use. All right, first let's talk about aromatically. This is probably the most well-known form of using essential oils, and it's one of my favorites. So there's lots of different ways that you can inhale an essential oil through your nose or through your lungs to get it into your system. And in fact, it's one of the most effective ways to get an essential oil into your system, because just breathing it in is going to get it into your lungs, which is going to then get into your entire bloodstream. It's pretty cool. So one way is to just take a bottle of an essential oil, open it up, and simply smell from the bottle. Such an easy thing to do. Another really easy way to do this is to put a drop or 2 or 3 into your hand, rub your hands around, and then make what I call a little tint, a nose tint. And you can cup it over your nose and over your mouth and inhale deeply for 10 breaths. 10 breaths is going to change your whole life if you can do 10 deep breaths of an essential oil like this. Oh, so magical. So I'm not going to do 10 breaths because that takes a long time. Be wary or be aware when you have essential oils on your hand. Now you don't want to go rubbing your eyes, or if it's a citrus oil, you don't want to go out into the sun and get that photosynthetic reaction either. So sometimes when I have excess oil, I just rub it into my hair because it's just easy to do. So that's one way. The other way is to use what's called a diffuser. Here's one of my diffusers here. Now, all diffusers are designed a little differently. This is a pretty typical design where you can just take off the top and then take off the second lid, and then there's a chamber in there where you would then fill it up with water to the fill line. It's usually a pretty obvious fill line to about here. Fill it up with water and then drop. You can do 8 to 10 drops of an essential oil. Usually all you need is like 3 or 4 drops, and you're going to get a ton of benefit. So depending on the oil, citrus oils are a little less intense and potent, so you can use 8 or 10 drops of those in a diffuser. And this is where things get super fun, because there's just an endless array of combinations of oils that you can put in your diffuser and make your house smell amazing. So this just plugs in. There's a plug that plugs into the wall. Fill it with water, put in your oils, press the button, and you're good to go. A lot of diffusers will have what's called an intermittent mode. So just read your diffuser's manual. Intermittent mode means that you press the button and maybe you press a second button and it's going to burst the essential oil into the air for maybe 5 minutes and then take like a 5-minute break. That is my favorite way to do it, because if you're just having the oil like constantly pumped into the air, it's kind of a waste of oil because you don't need that much oil in the air. And giving your system a little break is always a great way to go about it as well. But really you can't go wrong so long as you're not putting like 50 drops of an essential oil in there, okay? Now, real quick, there are 2 main types of diffusers out there. There's what this one is called an ultrasonic diffuser, meaning it's got that little metal disc down there that what it does is it vibrates really fast and pushes the essential oil molecules into the air. The other main type is what's called a nebulizer diffuser. I've got one of those over here actually. This is a nebulizer diffuser where there is no chamber for water. You don't put water in here, you just put straight essential oils, and then you turn it on and it kicks it up into the air. Neither of these methods uses heat technology. So that's the only thing you really want to avoid, is a diffuser that would use some sort of heat technology, like, you know, those old incense burners where you would put the candle at the bottom and you put the essential oils in the top. If you're using that sort of heat method, it's going to damage the therapeutic molecules of that essential oil, and we want to avoid that. So get yourself an ultrasonic diffuser or a nebulizer diffuser. The nebulizer diffusers are more potent. It's going to put a lot more molecules into the air, and it's going to not use water, which for some people, if they live in like a super moldy environment or something, that might be of concern to them. Most people, however, just use the ultrasonic diffusers because they tend to be a little bit cheaper, and that water actually is a little bit gentler on their system. So if you're kind of brand new to essential oils, I would probably stick to the ultrasonic diffuser. Now, in general, this is just very general here, when you're trying to decide which method to use an essential oil, I always recommend if you're dealing with emotional things or anything related to the brain, stress, if you need a mood uplift, if you need help sleeping, then using essential oils aromatically is a great way to go about it. A lot of people will just use diffusers and essential oils to make their homes smell amazing, and that's a great option too. Essential oils, and especially diffusing essential oils, is the perfect replacement for toxic candles or fragrances that a lot of people use. So air fresheners and Glade plugins and those kinds of things are extremely bad for your health. There's chemicals in there like formaldehyde and all sorts of volatile organic compounds that are really bad for your health. So this is a super easy toxin-free tip that anyone can implement. All right, let's talk about our second method of use, which is topical. So topical use of essential oils is just putting it anywhere on your skin. If you're using it in a skincare regimen, you can mix it in with some sort of wrinkle cream or face cream, put it on your face. If you want to apply an essential oil to a scrape or bruise or anything like that, you can mix it with a carrier oil and do that. I recommend for most people in most situations that you always use a carrier oil. Again, a carrier oil is any sort of fatty-based, oily substance that you can mix with an essential oil. If you are just using like one drop of an essential oil as a perfume, or maybe putting a drop on your head, which we'll talk about in a minute, things like that, or if you're putting essential oils on the bottom of your feet, then you don't have to dilute your essential oil. You're going to be fine unless you have a very sensitive skin type. If you have an extremely sensitive skin type, then you're always going to want to dilute your oil. Some oils are hotter than others, meaning they contain a chemical that makes them kind of feel hot to the touch on your skin. Cinnamon is an example, oregano, wintergreen. These oils can have a kind of burning sensation if you don't mix them with a carrier oil. So again, for most people, you're going to want to mix with a carrier oil. The rule of thumb here, and I'm just a rule of thumb person, I don't think that essential oils have to be used in exact dilution ratios. There's a lot of people out there that are going to say, oh, you have to use essential oils in a 1% dilution or a 3% dilution. I'm just not that kind of person. So don't yell at me. If you want to follow those kind of strict guidelines, you're welcome to. I've been using essential oils for 5 years or more, using just very sort of loose guidelines, and I've never had any ill effects. So that being said, my guidelines are to use 1 drop of an essential oil for about every half a teaspoon of carrier oil for a healthy full-size adult. If you're using on a small child, use about 1 drop of essential oil to about every tablespoon of carrier oil. And that's the same dilution you would want to use on pets as well. If you have been using essential oils for a while and you feel like you can use less of a dilution, go for it. The most important thing is listen to your body, okay? Look at your skin. If you put an oil on and it starts to feel burny or you're breaking out in a rash, use more carrier oil. It's that simple. Okay, so the way that I do this is just really simple. I love to have these little dropper bottles around, and I fill them up with my favorite carrier oils. So this one is olive oil. And the way I like to use olive oil, we'll talk about next for using oils internally. But having these around is great. Or I thought I had an example over here. Or if you buy a carrier oil that comes in like a squirt bottle, that works too. But basically you can take a little bit of carrier oil, put it in the palm of your hand. I like to make like a little cup in my hand so that it doesn't fall out. And then I take whatever oil I'm using, open it up, and then I just drop right from the bottle. 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna use 4 drops in this case. Mix it up and then apply it. So now I'm on video. I'm just gonna apply it to the bottom of my feet. And applying oils to the bottom of your feet is actually an excellent way to just get an oil into your system. So if you're ever not really sure where to put an oil, I say just put it on the bottom of your feet, or put it up your spine. Putting it up your spine is gonna get it all into your nervous system, and then it's gonna spread to the rest of your body, and it's gonna be great. Other than that, just use it intuitively. So if you're having a belly ache, put it on your belly. If you are having a sore back, put it on your back. If you are having sore shoulders, put it on your shoulders. If you are dealing with emotional issues, put a drop over your heart. I like to put a drop right on the top of the crown of my head for any sort of uplifting emotional circumstances. So if I'm trying to get motivated for the day and I just want to up my frequency, I'll just put a drop right on the top of my head. Do it in the mirror so you can see when the oil comes out. Now, one way you might see this in the essential oil world, some people will put their finger right on top of the bottle and then kind of flip it upside down. Here, I'm gonna put my lid on. Pretend my lid's not on. And some people will kind of go like this with their finger and then put the bottle upside down, have a little oil on their finger and rub it, on or something like that. You can do it that way, but I prefer not to touch the lid of my bottle because I don't want to get my oils and my bacteria on the rim, and so I prefer to just drop right from the bottle. Now, one quick tip. I don't think you'll be able to see this on the video, probably not, but if you look at the topper, I'll pop the topper off so you can see. If you look at the plastic topper of an essential oil bottle, the essential oil does not come out of that center circle there. That center circle is to let air in so that the oil can come out, and where it actually comes out of is this rim, this circular rim just on the outside of this inner circle. And if you look really closely, for some, there's actually going to be a little tiny hole somewhere in that line, and that's actually where the essential oil drops out of. So if you're dealing with a really thick essential oil, you want to make sure that you are pouring with that little hole down, and you don't want to hold the bottle straight upside down because that can sometimes block the air from coming out. Doing it at a little bit of an angle is going to let that oil drop out of the bottle a little bit more easily. Okay, so that is topical application. I want to show you one more thing because this is my absolute favorite way to use essential oils, because mixing the carrier oil in your hand and then putting the oil in there, it works great, and then you can put it on your back, you can rub it wherever you want to rub it, but then it leaves your hands kind of greasy, right? So I love to use what's called roller balls, and what you can do is you can buy these metal roller balls. This is a ball of metal here at the top, and what you can do is you can take your essential oil bottle and then you can fill, let's say I've used half this bottle, or maybe I pour half of this oil into a different bottle, and then I fill the rest up with a carrier oil. And then you have this really easy glide on rollerball. This is called Peace and Calming, and I love this blend. And I like to put this one on my neck so I can smell it and it calms me down. So these roller balls are great. You can buy these on Amazon, or you can buy, if you buy from the company I buy from, they sell these that pop right onto the top of the oil bottle, which is really cool. Whatever you do, just don't buy the plastic ones, the ones with the plastic rollerball tops, because they don't work nearly as well as the metal ones. Okay, so that is topical. All right, now let's talk about the way we use them. Number 3 is internal use. Now this is a totally optional method for using essential oils. Not everyone agrees that essential oils are safe to take internally. All I'm going to say is you do you, I'll do me. I've been using essential oils internally for 5+ years. So have my kids, so have my husband, so have all my friends, and we do just fine. So essential oils are by some people thought to be too potent or too powerful to take internally. I say if you're going slow, if you're listening to your body and you're not overdoing it, then you're going to be fine. That being said, you don't have to take them internally if that's not something you're comfortable with. No problem. If you do want to use them internally, my favorite way to do that is to have these empty gel capsules around. You can buy them on Amazon. This is size 00. So buy size 00 capsules, and you just take them apart. And this is why I like to have a dropper bottle of olive oil around, because it's really easy to fill it with a few drops of olive oil and a few drops of essential oil. You just hold it up to the edge and drop it in. So if I'm doing, let's say I'm making a digestive blend, I might put up to 4 drops of oil in my capsule, top the rest of it off with olive oil so that it doesn't hit your system as harshly, and then put the lid on, swallow it down. And that's all there is to it. It's a really great method to use because you don't have to smell like oils all day, especially if you're using oils that don't necessarily smell like perfume or great, and you don't want to smell like that oil all day. You can take it internally, and you're still getting tons of benefit that way. If you have any sort of digestive issues, I love to take oils for that, and doing it internally is great. Another method you can do is you can drink essential oils in water or juice. Just make sure that you are not doing it in a plastic cup, because essential oils are very detoxifying, and it could, kind of degrade that plastic or even leach that plastic into the water. So always drink from glass or stainless steel. And if you're mixing essential oils in with water, let's say you're making like a lavender lemon lemonade, add in a little bit of honey or maple syrup, give it a nice stir so that that oil doesn't just sit at the top of your water. And then another way you can use them internally is in your baking or your cooking. So I use essential oils all the time when I'm making sauces. I put a few drops of lemongrass in when I make rice. I use orange oil when I make waffle batter. You can be so creative, and I've definitely got more stuff out there online on cooking with essential oils that you can find as well. But those are the basic ways to use essential oils. Again, topically, aromatically, and internally. All right, comment below this video what your biggest takeaway was, and again, share freeoilcourse.com with all your friends. I'll see you in the next lesson.